7:38, 22 minutes before 8 o'clock on this good-looking Friday. 70, maybe at 33 degrees. It's 70 on some scale, I'm sure. 33 degrees and mostly sunny skies and a great-looking weekend ahead. And coming up on the 70th anniversary this Wednesday of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And we have the USS Normandy, Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser in town to help us commemorate. The sailor's going to be in the Christmas parade tomorrow. And then Captain Joe Creed, the commander of the USS Normandy, is going to be the guest speaker at the Pearl Harbor Memorial Service at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon at the Mighty 8th Air Force Museum. And Captain Creed is on the line with us this morning. Good morning, Captain. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Bill. We're doing great. As you mentioned, it's a beautiful day in Savannah and a great morning down here on the river.
We are glad to have you aboard, sir.
Thank you.
What is the now? Give us a little bit of your background. Where's home originally, sir?
Well, I'm from a little town called Eagle, Idaho, and out in the southwest corner of the state.
That give you a hankering to see the ocean when you were a kid and decided to join the Navy?
It did. The Navy taught me how to swim and has taken me all over the world. It's been a great experience.
Besides commander of the Normandy, it's not everybody has to start at the bottom someplace. And how did you start? Did you go to the Naval Academy or go through ROTC, or how did it work?
Well, I went to the Naval Academy, started back in 1979, and hit the fleet in 1983. And back in the day when we were toe-to-toe with the Soviet Union, and when things in Iran started to heat up, and been on the high seas ever since.
Well, I understand that the Normandy was the first. Its maiden voyage went right to war. Is that correct?
That's correct. Very soon after the ship was commissioned back in 1989, she immediately steamed onto the gun line and was immediately went into battle.
Wow. And I guess when you go to the Naval Academy and you graduate, it is always your dream to be in command of a vessel of that nature. You've also been on a couple of some of our top aircraft carriers and other duties. What were some of your other duties before you got this command?
Well, I was commanding officer, skipper of the USS Nicholas. She's a guided missile frigate, and we were in the Mediterranean on 9/11 and emergency sortied out of Malta, and spent a good bit of time deployed protecting U.S. and coalition forces in the Mediterranean in the aftermath of 9/11. And other than that, Bill, just a lot of time at sea and doing everything you can to defend the country.
Well, we thank you and all of your sailors for everything that you do to put yourselves on the line here with us. My producer, Laura Anderson, on the line here with us too, Captain.
My dad was in the Navy.
Good morning, Laura.
Good morning.
Where did he serve?
He was during the Vietnam era. He was in for 10 or 11 years.
Indeed. Well, Captain Creed, we have, unfortunately, I know that we can't have tours of the ship like we had in the good old days. Just another reason to hate terrorists.
Yes.
But if you join the Navy League, you can do that. Pam and I will be aboard with you tonight, sir, welcoming you aboard. And I want you to know that you've already expressed to me that we've rolled out the red carpet for you here.
Well, yes, sir. My sailors were out in town last night and just thoroughly enjoying the experience of Savannah. And we're all very, very happy to be here helping you and assisting in celebrating Pearl Harbor Day.
Is this your
watershed moment in our history?
Indeed. Is this your first visit to the city, sir?
By water. It is.
Okay.
My wife and I came down a couple years ago by car.
Okay. That works, too.
Which way's better?
Which way's better?
Well, the river is much more scenic. So it was a beautiful transit yesterday. It's beautiful.
Well, it's in fact interesting you mentioned that. We talked just recently with the CBS, the travel editor for CBS News, Peter Greenberg, and we were talking about bringing a cruise line in here, and he said there's no better way to come into Savannah than by water.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's just a lovely transit and just a lot of scenery.
All right.
Particularly coming to Savannah by water is just beautiful.
Outstanding. Captain Creed, we have a listener calling in, may want to talk to you. Good morning. Who's this? Let me press the other button. All right. Good morning. Who's this?
It's Mark, and I've got a quick question. You went to Annapolis, and I am very interested in getting my son in. what's the best way of going about that? Right now, he's 13. He's been on the honor roll and all that good sort of stuff. Double black belts, and he's real interested in the Navy.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Well, I would say for a young teenager who's has aspirations to go to sea, hit the books, get good grades, and be involved in school and community projects and organizations. Being in the Navy is being a leader is just not knowing how. It's just not book smarts, but knowing how to work with people and make things happen. So that would be my recommendation, sir.
Captain Creed, that we mentioned to you just a moment ago, you always have aspirations of being in command of a vessel of this nature. Tell me about the enormous responsibility that you and your crew have.
Well, the mission of Normandy is air defense. We were invented back when we were again toe to toe with the Soviet Union, and our mission was to protect aircraft carriers against bombers and fighters of the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. That mission still exists. The Soviet Union does not, but we still defend the aircraft carriers. We still defend aircraft flying from those carriers that they're generally carrying bombs and ordnance nowadays in Afghanistan, in and out of Afghanistan. So we still do that to protect carriers and aircraft. Our mission's expanding a little bit now, where ships like us, we're now defending air, or we're working together, networking, so to speak, to defend airspace over large expanses of ocean, and we're also involved in ballistic missile defense at sea. And so that's our mission, and that's what we do, sir.
And anti-submarine too, is that right, Captain?
Yeah, we're a full mission, full spectrum platform. We don't do just air defense, but anti-submarine warfare, and carry Tomahawk cruise missiles for land strike, very similar to those types of events that occurred in Libya earlier in the summer. Indeed.
There've been talk, of course, that with all the modern weaponry, that some maybe large surface ships now are not as necessary as need be, or that we don't need to, we ought to go to smaller craft with smaller crews. What do you think of that?
Well, I've got my own personal opinions on that, but I tell you, it's all the desires of the American public, and we defend. I carry out the orders, and we carry out the orders of the Commander-in-Chief, and so what he says goes, and we go accomplish the mission.
Well said. Captain, we always throw these terms around and everything. We have all these classy names for our vessels. Tell me what a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser is, as opposed to another guy. You said you were on another guided missile cruiser or
Sure.
A destroyer. What's the difference?
Well, the Ticonderoga-class cruiser, 567 feet long, close to 10,000 tons.
Wow.
We can shoot weapons that range from anti-air missiles to Tomahawk cruise missiles to anti-submarine torpedoes. Got large caliber guns that we can do amphibious assault operations, and we really are we're a capital warship, and fitted out to do a wide variety of missions. We have about 300 sailors on board. 10% of the crew are women who fill roles and responsibilities throughout the chain of command, and so we're just a bigger ship with a broader spectrum of things that we do.
Do you have any Savannians on board, Captain, that you know of?
I do not, but we have one or two sailors that have families that live down here, and they've authorized their presence on board, and they've been aboard.
Outstanding. All right, so now, and tell me, as far as the weaponry and everything, since you've come in the Navy, it's almost impossible to keep up with the technology anymore. You know, you buy a computer or whatever, or an iPad now, and as soon as you get it out of the box, you turn on the TV and find out there's another model out. But as far as the weaponry and the communications that you have now, you guys can cover so much more with so fewer ships, because you can talk to each other, you can see each other's radar screens on another ship that's 300 miles away.
It's pretty sophisticated, and the sailors that come into the Navy today are very bright, and they get trained on this stuff, and it's just it's wonderful to see what these sailors do for you.
Well, it's like you told Mark just a minute ago about his kid. You might want to study mathematics and that sort of thing, too. This is applied mathematics, isn't it?
It's a lot of technology, and but also, as mentioned, it's just not the technology, but it's the ability to work with people and to make this technology work. It's the people that make this happen.
Well, one of the fun things, of course, of coming into a port like this, and we all know that this is a favorite port of call for the Navy, is the activities that you're going to be involved with. You guys are going to be in the Christmas parade tomorrow, and then you're going to be the guest speaker Sunday afternoon at the Mighty 8th Air Force Museum
Sure.
for the commemoration of the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Yes, sir. And we're looking forward to that. We've got marching practice here this morning to make sure that we look good at tomorrow's parade.
Absolutely, a little land duty, and
I'm hoping nobody from the Army is at the parade.
There will be an Army presence, sir, I assure you. You know, we're such a military-friendly town. Everybody who's ever assigned here said that this is the greatest, most loyal place in the world, and we prove it. Picking up the tab for soldiers or sailors or airmen. You know, we've got the 165th Airlift Wing here that flies that what they lovingly call the flying pickup truck that carries all the equipment around and all the supplies for our soldiers and all in Afghanistan and wherever. We have the Navy right across the road there at the Beaufort Marine Corps Air Station, the Marines there. Also the Navy Hospital. Just down the road we have the Trident Submarine Base. We have Hunter Army Airfield here. We have Fort Stewart nearby. And the Coast Guard is here as well, guarding the port as well as the Air Bay Coast Guard Air Station. Sir, we celebrate diversity.
Same here.
Now, we're into shameless self-promotion, Captain, so give us a big pitch for kids who are thinking about it and parents who are wondering what their kids are going to do when they graduate, either from high school or college, and give us a pitch for the military in general and the Navy specifically.
Well, Bill, the military service, if a young adult wants to be part of something bigger than themselves, be part of something that affects a wonderful and good impact on people's lives in the world, and want to do things that's challenging and it's really going to push their capabilities to the limits that they will learn to. The Navy, the military, and the Navy's the right place for them.
And tell me about Joe Creed, the man. When you take off the uniform and you get together with family and friends, what do you like to do?
Well, I'll tell you, Bill, you never really take off the uniform.
I understand that for sure.
But my family's in Norfolk, and when I'm off the ship, I just like spending time with them.
And wife and kids and all that?
Wife and no kids at home, but plenty of crew here that do have children. And I tell you, when they're not on board the ship and not underway, they spend some time with the loved ones. And I put a pitch for them, Bill. The Navy families and military families, they're really the unsung heroes of our business.
Yes, they are.
They do a lot and keep the home fires burning to make sure everything's okay.
And we try to make sure that they're taken care of here back at home, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. God bless you, Captain Joe Creed. Keep up the great work. Looking forward to meeting you personally tonight on the ship.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for the time this morning.
My pleasure. God bless. Take care.
Yes, sir.
All right. And anchors away. There you go. Captain Joe Creed, the commander of the USS Normandy, here in town for the weekend. And when you see those sailors out, folks, pick up the tab for them, will you? It's 9 minutes before 8 o'clock right here at the big one. News Radio 1290 WTKS. It's 33 degrees and sunny.